Welcome back to the North American LCS. We're gearing up for our final game of the day. It's Echo Fox versus Team Impulse. Now, let's start with Team Impulse. They cleared a major hurdle before the season just started just by putting a roster together. Impulse was actually up for sale. They sat on the market. They never found a buyer. And it's like, well, the season's starting. We need to get ourselves a team together.
And it's a really tough situation for them because the only returning member to this team is Gate, who actually stepped into the mid lane after a single game of support once Xiao was away. And the rest of the team is even more scattered. Mash is their AD carry. He has actually been in and out of the LCS since it began. And then the rest of the team is still in flux because the intended roster is missing 2 of its members for this game. So we have 2 subs playing actually with Ken and Bebe.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit rough, but they're going to be up against Echo Fox. Go Fox. Go Fox. Which is a new team from longtime esports fan Rick Fox. He made a big move right off the bat by snatching up an all-star mid laner in Froggen over from Europe. This guy has 1.5 million fans. But of course, last time we saw Froggen was with the European team Elements, which wasn't as good.
He's so close to being a perfect Echo Fox. Anyway, also joining the team, it is Keith as the AD carry position. He spent time on Team Liquid. A lot of people know him. Team Liquid and TSM. And finally, has a starting position of his own. No more Wild Turtle or Piglet sitting behind him. And now he can actually boast the highest win rate in the LCS, which is at 86%. It's only 7 games, but 6 win and 1 loss. Pretty good.
Yep. We'll see if he can keep
totally
that up
him,
right here.
All him. Nothing to do with the fact that he was playing
win.
on like #1 teams or anything. It's all him.
They wanted him for a reason, Jack. If you're the best team in the league, who you want? They wanted Keith.
There's a lot to prove here for these guys, right? Like Keith, he has had good performances, but it wasn't just because he was in a strong environment. Even when he was outside of his environment, he was challenged to get as high as possible on solo queue. Rank 1. Can't do better than that.
True. Yeah, no, I was trying to dispute it, but you like...
When he was when he was on the bench for TSM, they said, get as high as you can in solo queue.
Yeah,
and
so he peaked it.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive. So Keith, of course, is very good, but of course you can talk about his teammate Froggen. This man has high praise, not only for his teammates, but also their owner, Rick Fox, and believes that the team will benefit from his leadership.
Yeah, it's definitely because Rick Fox is in the picture where he knows what's going on. I mean, it's also that he knows like a team environment and how it like is really good and how it's supposed to be. Because he's been a team captain before and he's like won NBA championships. I mean, he just has so much experience and value he can bring to like the team, and I value that a lot. And I can also learn a lot of things from him because I mean I'm new to this whole thing where I'm like the oldest one in the group and having to like kind of look out for the newer players, for the like new and upcoming stars hopefully. So I can definitely get a lot from him there, which I find really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a player who's been through a lot now. He's been competing since basically the beginnings of competitive League of Legends. I know Crepo has stories about playing with him back when they were on a team together as well, about Crepo had taken up sort of more the leadership role with the team and making sure everything was going well. And now Froggen's the big dog. Now he's the alpha on the team, and it's under his purview.
Yeah, Froggen was a huge force in the mid lane at the 2012 World Championships before the LCS existed, to give you an idea of how long he's been around. And I love the fact that he's now talking about leadership, because back in 2012, he was a 17-year-old kid, right? And he has matured with the game and with the scene, and now we want to see if he can step up to a leadership role, because I've even held these perceptions myself and still do for a short bit, that Froggen fell away from the meta and fell away from the game and couldn't update his champion pool to stay current. But if you think back into late Season 2 or even early on in 2013, Froggen could play everything. Yeah. He almost revolutionized the mid lane in a lot of ways. Yes, he played Anivia, but he was the first AP Cog player. He started drawing Lee Sin bans in the mid lane. He took Corki mid on the competitive scene. He took Jarvan mid in the competitive scene. He was playing everything.
Yep.
And then also thinking back to what he's been doing in the last few years, I think it's more the fact that he's been losing, which has been making people look for holes in Froggen's game. And this is really a big time for Froggen to prove that it's not holes in his own game. It's not the fact that he can't play champions, because his champion pool, if you look at his number of champion plays, is as big as anyone's across any split that he's played for. And it's on him really to prove that he can be a leader and get others to win. He can put up numbers, but he needs to win.
He's got his own team yet again. He's got his own stage. We're going to see if he can start out well here in North America. And we can talk about his teammates by bringing up the starting lineups. On the blue side, Froggen's Echo Fox. In the top lane, KFO. In the jungle, Hard. Mid lane, Froggen. Keith at AD carry, Big on support, and Coach Cop behind him.
Oh boy. I think that's the last time we can do that. On the red side, it is Team Impulse with Fang in the top lane. Bebe subbing in the jungle. Gate moving to the mid lane. He's probably going to play support later this year. Mash on AD carry, Ken on support, and their coach Jason.
Yeah, just to continue to clarify the point about Team Impulse playing with substitutes, they were supposed to have two Korean, former amateurs on their starting lineups here. Proxen, who actually had played in the LJL, the Japanese league, as a pro as far as that league is concerned, and also Pyrian, who, to my knowledge, is just straight out from solo queue or from amateur play. These guys are not in right now, at least I don't know the exact details, but basically they're not available. So you have Bebe in as a substitute jungler. Gate is moving to mid to fill in for Pyrian, which then leaves a gap in support, which Ken is filling right now. Impulse are going to hope that they can get the roster together in time, and in the meantime they're playing with subs, which is ironically exact where Keith and Big were for their competitive careers up until now.
Yeah, well, at least it's nice for the fact for TIP that Gate has LCS experience technically as a support and as a mid laner. He's been wanting to move towards support for a while, but for whatever reason, if you've been trying to play dynamic queue, mid lane's really hard to get. Gate can't get out of mid lane in the LCS. He keeps wanting to go to support, but he's obviously had to play a whole bunch of mid lane here, and it's a tough task to go up against Froggen.
It is going to be very tough. I mean, this guy already had big shoes to fill in the first place, and now he's up against some of the biggest shoes that have ever been filled in mid-lane League of Legends history. So definitely some prolific figures on one side of the rift, and a bunch of people here to prove themselves that they deserve to be here on the other.
And we also talk, and we've talked all today, kind of about team synergy. This will be a question going forward, especially for Echo Fox, because these two teams really were the last two teams to put together rosters in the North American LCS, so technically they've had the least amount of time to gel. You also have to add a couple additional difficulties for Echo Fox.
Sure.
KFO is a Korean top laner, non-English speaker who comes straight from solo queue. So not only do they have to overcome the language barrier, they also have to overcome the competitive barrier. Both of those things take time to correct traditionally with all the imports we've seen joining the league. And now Echo Fox has to do that, as well as also not being comfortable with the rest of their team, because Frog and Keith, Big and Hard have also not played together.
Absolutely true, but at least it's the intended starting lineup for these guys, and they get maybe the easiest matchup they could ever get for themselves with the substitute-filled Team Impulse roster. But we'll see just how well these guys can start out. No surprise, the Nivea first ban up against Froggen. We'll see how often this happens for him, but right now, Jungler's being removed away from Bebe. As a sub, you remove his comfort champions, which I assume is going to be Graves Jungle and definitely Nidalee, and try to remove the options.
Yeah, depending on how much pro experience you have, you don't know how built out your champion pool is going to be, because pros get constantly challenged. There are now, at this point, teams of analysts dedicated to trying to find holes in your game and your champion pool. So if it exists, it will be targeted.
And likewise, you see a couple of top laners banned away from KFO as well, right? Get rid of the champions he's known to play. He hasn't played competitive, so his entire roster is there on his OPGG profile in Korea. And they're like, well, those are the champions he plays. His Vladimir's still up, which is one of his more notorious champions, so maybe we'll see that from KFO later on. But right now, the Lulu grabbed right away, and we'll see where it ends up going.
Yeah, well, at least we have the Kindred locked in on the other side. I like the fact that they have Lulu. Always a great champion because it creates a hyper carry. It's an anti-assassination metric. It's good in team fighting. It's just not very flashy. So it requires a certain level of patience to play Lulu and precision to get the execution right.
Well, there's some precision and execution ready already for Team Impulse here. Alistair ready for the engages, and the Kindred probably in the jungle here to follow up as best they can. Bebe takes a couple of bans in the jungle. Doesn't seem to matter, as Kindred should be just fine. Ken's Alistair. Well, you can always Hex.
Yeah.
Land Whimsy during Headbutt. No Pulverize can come out. Always interesting if that does end up happening. Echo Fox now to log in their next few champions. 30 seconds to go till they lock in picks 2 and 3.
Yeah, just with the 2 picks they're going up against, Kindred and Alistair, it can be a large amount of early game pressure. But it's also going to be technically the 2 substitutes picks locked in right away. So maybe they're just trying to get them on something comfortable for sure, and then the other guys can try and adapt.
All right, at least jungle picked up on the other side here, as well as Lucian grabbed. So it seems like everyone really does like to pick Lucian. Seems to be the more commonly blind picked AD carry, but At least just kind of mirroring up both the Kindred. Meanwhile, Trundle and Poppy picked up, so we finally get NA Poppy. See if it's as good as EU or Korea Poppy, but
Very
with Trundle
prevalent.
there as well, you don't know which one to support.
Yeah, very prevalent for Poppy in Europe, with several bans actually directed after it had some success early. I think we'll see it in the support role for now, but honestly, we've seen it top lane, we've seen it support, we've seen it jungle. I think the highest percentage of games have been as support. And also because in the bottom lane right now, it's against a Lucian, which is what you'd want to be able to gank and kill with. Lucian relies very heavily on his dash, both for offensive and defensive purposes, so Poppy would be good to have down there, unless there's a dash-focused top laner, which at this point is, I think, unlikely.
And even still, she's good against Elise as well, so you can stop the ganks, you can prevent her Q, melee Q from doing anything, you can stop her before she reaches. Last few picks now for Echo Fox. They're going to grab Lissandra and Thresh in here, so we still don't know which mage is going where between the Lulu and the Lissandra. I guess that could be very matchup-based here. And we're going to have mages coming out. KFO and Froggen, the two magic damage dealers. Keith set up on a great AD carry with a very great support to back him up with Thresh.
Good and swappable solo lanes. Not much tank presence from the Echo Fox team, which isn't necessarily a bad thing since they are up against a Trundle. It just means that they're going to need to find the proper flanks to assassinate. Very possible since because of a Kindred jungle, the tankiest really Tip can get is just that Alistar and Trundle, so no triple tank like we saw in the last game. Unless they decide to throw Kindred mid or something.
Sure, I've seen things like that before already, so there's always the chance, but it's going to be Victor here for Gate in the mid lane. Did pretty well with it the last split when he did play in mid, and that's going to be his champion yet again. So Team Impulse and Echo Fox, the champions, are locked in. We'll figure out where they all end up going, and actually, I may have misremembered what was going on. Of course, Alistar already picked up, so it's Poppy jungle Trundle top. I don't know how I missed that one, but the Alistar was grabbed way long ago.
We both did.
Poppy jungle. Zyrene is so happy right now, by the way.
You know, I blame the champ select layout.
Yeah.
Totally wasn't our fault.
Yeah, no, we're not totally brain dead or
Let's
anything.
just blame others. I
To be
think
fair,
that's what we should do.
To be fair, top Alistar has been making its rounds, so it was forgivable as far as mistakes go. But Poppy jungle, we've now seen her in 3 competitive roles, professional competitive roles, in the same week. I don't think even Kale could have done that.
And jungle Poppy still offers the opportunity to punish Lucian in the bottom lane if you go in there for a gank, because that's actually when you do it. Typically, we see Cinder Hulk Poppy, sometimes with an Iceborne Gauntlet, and then full tank, and using the tankiness and the disengage playmaking of the Poppy to get most of the effectiveness.
And just keep your giant backline alive and happy, dealing plenty of damage. We'll see if that one happens. But guys at home, for one last time today, hit us up on Twitter with your game predictions. Tweet hashtag FOXWin or hashtag TIPWin. Win to let us know who's going to be taking this one home and ending their day 1-0. 5 teams will end Saturday on the top. Which one is going to be the 5th one? Here we go, guys. Game 5 of Saturday, the North American LCS. Catch up with everyone else. Let's go.
And also that means that it is an AD carry Kindred. So we like super miscalled this champion select in so many ways. If you were watching this, forget what we said. It didn't happen. It's kind of cool what Tip has actually picked thus far. We'll see if they can execute it here, because a lot of role swapping going on. Kindred, Poppy, and Trundle are actually things that can go in 3 different positions, all 3 of them. So that's kind of an impossible composition to actually predict where they're going, but we should have been able to figure it out based on the Alistar.
Yep, we were just too dumb to do it. But again, Alistar's a flex, he can go top, so I still maintain that it's not solvable theoretically.
I've seen more of it lately. Cross Queen's claim top lane Alistar has seen play for whatever reason.
I think Frost Queen's claim Misfortune's seen play, like, to be fair. Like,
Frost
actually,
Queen's claim support MF is good.
Is actually insane, I know.
Or was on patch 524 when Make It Rain did over 300 damage and 70% slow at max rank with no scaling. So you just slow everyone and peel. It was only vulnerable to ganks because you would use Make It Rain to harass and then have no peeling.
And then you're Misfortune, so you die
time.
when Lee Sin showed up. But still was cool. Not part of this game, though. Echo Fox coming in for the invade we've seen so many times today. You go in deep, you put a trinket in the base gate, you put a trinket in between the 2 turrets, and then you try to figure out where the dual lane and where the solos are going. Similar invade, of course, from Team Impulse, so equal footing so far. Now, I have played both as and against AD carry Kindred. you don't really want to 2-on-2 that champion. The sustain from her W passive is so good, you just kind of don't win those fights. The long game against her, and if you ever all in, the active on W is also crazy. So actually battling her in lane is very hard, and it looks like Echo Fox will not have to deal with that 2-on-2.
I completely agree, actually. The Kindred marksman, since she is designed to be in the jungle, is loaded with a lot of early game tools and a lot of bursty damage tools. So when a Kindred would gank, it would actually be effective, more effective than you would think an AD carry walking into a lane would be.
Yeah.
With that comes punishment. The scaling of Kindred is not near the scaling of something like Lucian. It's very much an early game champion. So lane swapping is exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, like no real true steroids on her. The late game is not nearly as good. You hope for the passive marks. That's the way you get yourself in. And being in a duo lane, you get less opportunity to grab those. So we'll see how Mash can do in the late game. Now, to my knowledge, speaking of Mash a little bit, he is a pretty vocal player. He's a very smart player as well. I know a lot of people who respect him quite a bit in terms of his mind for the game.
He does like shot call.
Yeah, and one of the very few, I like these AD carry shot callers. And we'll see, you know.
I think it is the worst competitive role, the shot caller.
That's fine. That's fine.
We can get into it later.
No, it's okay. But yeah, Mash, in the intended role as the intended shot caller, is at least filling in
Sure.
you know, well here.
And we've seen AD carries who are able to shot call successfully.
Yes.
Anything is possible within League of Legends. I just
Such as
feel like the AD
Poppy
carry
with
needs
top
to pay attention to more specifics and has the least map freedom that makes him the most suboptimal for a shot calling role.
I tend to agree. Some of us just like to play in hard mode, Jack.
Yeah, if you want to try and do everything,
more hardcore.
be an AD carry shot call.
There you go. That's how I do it.
Try to do
Try.
everything.
I mean, I failed my D3 promos like 3 times now, so I'm only so good at League of Legends. All right, top turret will be going down. Looks like bottom turret going to be in about the same spot here, Team Impulse. First turret kill of the game, but again, will be answered. This will throw your stats off, by the way. First turret means nothing, guys, because it just kind of gets taken down randomly by one
First
of the two
turret
teams.
leads to victory.
Exactly
Random number
50% of the time,
times.
right? Like, just add the variance, because here's turret number 2 with roughly the same impact in the game.
Yeah, especially if they both bounce the wave. Although,
This is not bounced.
yeah, that turret died a little bit early, so that will actually, because it's 4 extra minions, will probably push into Tip's side and will be freezable by Mash if he wants to. With this will now put an impetus on Fox to push up their top lane unless they want some lopsided lanes and make a play elsewhere like mid lane.
Yes, the question is, where does Lucian go? Because he can walk into this bot lane that has no turret to kill and very little to defend, really. Or they can walk top lane and actually pressure that one down. Right now, KFO being allowed to just sit in the top lane by himself. Lucian and Thresh going to be defending their own pink boards as best they can. Bebe gets hooked already, and here comes the rest of the team.
Hard gave him a way out, actually, right there. He was trying to follow up with the play, but he did not cocoon before Bebe would dash towards him. The dash cleared a lot of distance, conveniently got a stun on the wall, and then he flashed away. So it was a nice pick, actually, by Big in the first place, but a better escape by Bebe.
And very interesting here, an aggressive pink ward down in this tri-box. This is often hard to defend as a dual lane. You have to almost constantly push to keep this pink ward up. But if Team Impulse can play this aggressively and stay this far up, they've already got those Stalker's Blade? No, sorry, the Smite Stone wards, basically, from Bebe in that bottom jungle. They're pretty safe from hard, honestly.
Yeah, and Mash actually chose not to freeze the lane at all. He wanted to make moves elsewhere on the map. Didn't set up the freeze, so he's not forcing Fox to make a play. Echo Fox.
They're just going to keep pushing into the turret. Like, we'll see how well they can position themselves. Gate just chilling in the mid lane, holding equal to Froggen right now. I mean, considering that you're holding equal to Froggen in Farm, who won his All-Star games entirely by getting Farm and is known for getting millions of minion kills.
I also feel like Froggen won a few of those All-Star games by mind-gaming his opponents into poor choices.
Well, yes.
Let's play Zillion with no runes.
A man who normally mains AD carry.
Yeah.
Let's not play these champions, Aframu. Let's play Zillion Mirror. Froggen outplayed him. You can't complain too hard.
Yes.
Mash going towards what looks like Ruin King. Also would build an Essence Reaper with a double longsword there. AD carry, like, item builds got harder to theory craft from 2 item buys. Because there's way more components to build in the same things now.
Yeah, and there's also so many variations for different champions based on what path you want to go to get things.
Yep. Zeal builds into 5 things. Good luck with that one.
was my least favorite AD carry build of the week? I would say one of the first games I watched. Oh, there's a gank coming.
And it's Froggen moving towards Gate. Ulti gonna land. No stuns to be had on the other side. Another cocoon. Gate never got to do anything. Great first kill in for Echo Fox.
Right when Froggen was hitting level 6 as well, so Gate never really anticipated that gank to arrive so fiercely. Big with the hook, Froggen with the follow, Hard also there, so everyone pitching in to help Froggen get going. Very good for Echo Fox.
The mark of a coordinated team that got some time to practice together. That entire play was orchestrated. Hey guys, it's the next wave. Be there in this brush. Don't worry, it's already swept. They're already actually pink-ported, to be fair. You actually can't see that coming. It was just a great play with no answer that TIP could find.
And I think this is a very important game for Echo Fox to win. Team Impulse picked up their roster even after Echo Fox did and is also still playing with substitutes. So if Echo Fox can't put together a fairly convincing win here, it's going to be tough to keep their motivation and morale high for future games.
There we go, 2 turrets to 1 briefly. The second one should be answered before too long anyway. There it is. So the turrets still remain equal. Pushing is fine on both sides here, but you're seeing 1,000 gold up from farm, and from that kill in the mid lane, Froggen now ballooning ahead, thanks to that game.
Yeah, but this will be a dragon picked up. A Mash very easily able to take that down with Kindred, as well as a little help with Bebe for a save of Smite.
So
I wanted
far,
to tell you my least favorite AD.
Oh, yes, please.
It was the Essence Reaver Hurricane cooldown boots Ashe.
You don't like that?
I didn't like it.
Just millions of arrows all the time?
It reminded me of like season 1 when people were like, yeah, I'll do a brutalizer, and we didn't have cooldown boots back then.
No. Oh, no, we might have. Those got in pretty early.
Those got in pretty early. Anyway, something like that.
Okay.
Didn't like it.
Okay.
I feel like Ashe does a lot of damage if you wanted to.
She does. So there is an interaction with Hurricane, though, and her Q, though. Like, if you have decent attack speed, Flurry is up, like, more than half the time in a team fight, and each shot of Flurry triggers a Hurricane bolt. Like, Ashe is probably the, like, second to Callista, like, the best Hurricane user of all time. So I'm gonna dispute that it's clever. It might actually
What is
suck.
your least favorite AD carry game?
Things that don't include an Infinity Edge by the end. So triple lifesteal Callista, for example. Infinity
So
Edge-
like, yes, like...
So, like, literally
the
freezes
last game.
build.
Freezes
Yeah.
build.
because Hurricane now has 30 crit on it, so you no longer have an excuse to not build an Infinity Edge,
Okay.
in my opinion.
You wanted him to drop, but then at this point, does he drop the Scimitar, he drops the BT.
Yeah. You've already got Ruin King and Mercurial Scimitar for 20% lifesteal, and at that point, doubling your damage is the same as adding 20% more lifesteal to BT. It doesn't double, obviously, but like, it's a very significant damage. Personally, I just think IE is insane. But right now, though, it's KFO getting knocked around and has very little to do. 1 versus 3 flash. Yep, goodbye. All right, 1 for 1. TIP back on the board now.
And you hate to call it a solo queue move when it is the first move a guy's made in competitive, but he's pushed up way above everyone else, does not have deep wards to justify being pushed up that far, and has no backup from his own team, nor other lanes pushing properly. So literally, the optimal play is to kill him, and that's what Tip did. So KFO should not have put himself in that situation.
There you go. A quick tip from Jat. If someone's pushed up by themselves without any lanes, just kill them. Good choice here. All right. 300 gold separates the team, so everything that was gained from the first kill roughly equalized now. You consider a first blood is worth 150 more gold than a regular kill. Assuming assists, you're basically at that mark right here. KFO has respawned. He's walking back towards his bottom lane, but has no farm to take, so he's just taking Krugs. There's not even a dragon by the other side of the map. He's literally walking out of the base to take Krugs, and then... something?
Well, I think he's just trying to group up for maybe a more powerful push. So basically, Echo Fox has taken down the outer turrets in both of the side lanes, and Froggen has a pretty big lead in the mid lane in which they think they can pressure that. So they're rotating everyone down towards the bottom lane. Since KFO did just die on his own, so the team probably just told him to group since they have an advantage, and now they might be going for a fight down here. If that hook lands, here comes Lulu.
Not level 6. Ken is forced to flash away. Bebe still in the brush, though I believe was not spotted in any way. Couldn't have been, but no real engage happens. Froggen does not yet go in on the Gate, but Gate has lost flash now to get away from Froggen in the first place. And that Glacial Tomb is still available, so this could be very, very scary. The Bebe has roamed to mid to hold Gate alive, and that will happen.
I also disagree with the Ghost on Gate this game. I feel like this is absolutely the time to bring Cleanse. the way that Froggen will kill you is by chaining CC together. Gate could have avoided his first death if he had cleanse to begin with, and the Ghost is not going to save his life. Maybe it'll help him go get kills afterwards. The life is much more important in this game.
There's so many long range, like, you're dead if these hit stuns. Like, one's going to hit at some point. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right about this one, Jat. A way to get out of those might have been more important. Baby still taking away what he can around the map. Hard is doing the Runic Echoes Elise. I think that's all we've seen from 6.1 Elises so far. So still seeing the AP early build, the high move speed, the high burst, and maybe Hard will get himself another gank later on in this game. Red buff on. Roaming around with big, and TIP, for being a bunch of subs, they're doing a pretty good job of getting some vision down. The jungle and support roaming together, getting trinkets, sweeping things away, trying to make themselves known. They know that Hard is right there. They know that bot lane is safe, and they can look for a play on KFO because he's got no way out and no support anywhere near him. Even though he's on the other side of the map, you can see these guys roaming now, right, to get there.
Yeah, Fang keeping his CS up on Trundle as well. Looks like he might be going towards an Iceborne Gauntlet to go with the Corruption Potion there on Trundle, so relatively common build. We've seen from Trundle top lane.
Yeah. Farming as much as he can otherwise. Fang is the intended top laner, by the way, of Team Impulse. I know we talked about this team having subs, but Fang from North American solo queue has hit Challenger himself, but he's the man this team wanted, and so far, doing all right for himself. Up CS against KFO, coming from Korean solo queue. EchoFox are playing with their full intended roster to keep you guys up to date on that. EchoFox just chilling with that small lead. Baby doing a great job of keeping Scuttle's control. Full Hunter's Potion for Hard as well, so a pretty hard farm route available for this Elise to get a ton of gold. I mean, the ganks aren't really easy to find. Players are staying away from the lanes with dead turrets. Only kind of 2 lanes are getting farmed at a time by any given lane. Playing overly safe because they're afraid of the junglers, and that means more time to farm.
And in Team Impulse's case, they're getting a decent number of wards down.
Yeah.
With an early Sightstone, good pink ward purchasing power by the rest of the team. And then for EchoFox, Hard has gone for the challenging smite, but has not picked up a Sightstone to compensate for lack of vision. Really, the lane dominance style from Froggen. Oh, there it goes again.
The flash, the stun, the flay, backwards, the exhaust, just to be sure Keith gets his first kill of the game up. Thanks to Froggen's play in mid lane. Outer will go down. EchoFox finding the ways to make the plays. The roam down, the great kill.
And this is where EchoFox's playmaking almost needs to originate from. Very different style from Froggen's Lissandra than we saw from Huhi's Lissandra earlier when he played for COG with Teleport versus Ignite as a second summoner spell. Lissandra could have great teleport presence to make plays in side lanes with the CC she can bring, or what Froggen has done is with Ignite for lane dominance, which means if he locks someone down with any help plus the Ignite, it will be a kill. It's made easy by the fact that Gate did not bring Cleanse, and that's the second successfully executed play by Froggen.
Very nicely done. Team Impulse not able to withstand the fact that EchoFox continue to play around their star mid laner. It feels a bit like TSM from last year, where it's like, guys, our mid laner is really good and he's Danish. Let's gank his lane a whole lot and we'll keep killing the enemy mid laner. And so far, so good for EchoFox. Okay, Impulse got a dragon. Good for them. They've got 2 in a row, actually. That control's good, but you've got a turret lead and a kill lead for EchoFox.
And now the question will be whether they can transition that elsewhere. Currently, they do not have the vision in which to push their advantage past the laning phase, especially against a Poppy, Trundle, who have great closing power in a gank situation. They're going to fix that. Sightstone picked up for Hard, now they get wards.
And here they go. Yeah, so detours for the Hunter's Potion, detours for finishing the entire Runic Echoes. I keep wanting to say Runeglaive, it's Runic Echoes. And then, yes, the Sightstone finally comes through, so EchoFox, actually with that vision deficit, was still able to make more plays, still able to get more done, and now they can equalize that vision game, and we can see just how well EchoFox can scale up now in the future. Quick pause. I do not yet know what it's about at this time.
Looks like Bebe has a small problem. We'll get...
Yeah. Bebe disconnected. Ken paused the game for him, so it's a Team Impulse pause. And we'll hopefully get that sorted out before too terribly long. But so far, 2,000 gold ups, about 16 minutes in. EchoFox have been the better aggressors.
2,000 gold up. That includes 1 turret, but they're also down 2 dragons. So it's not as clear-cut as we would think. And also the kills have been heavily concentrated onto Gate. This will probably be the way the game progresses towards team fights, looking at the rest of Team Impulse and the fact that Gate doesn't have Cleanse. Like, if Froggen is thinking of targets he can kill with Lissandra, probably not Trundle. Poppy's going to be building full tank. Kindred, unless you burst 100% in CC, will ultimate herself and hopefully negate some of the burst, and you're just not bursting Alistair. So that is really where Froggen has to focus based on the early pick Lissandra and the fact that they've put him in afterwards. Now, from there, if Echo Fox successfully bursts the Victor, they can then work down the tanks with the sustained damage from Lulu and Lucian. That's how their team composition is going to want to work throughout the game.
And we talked already about the fact that Kindred is not the same kind of sustained damage dealer as pretty much any other marksman. Even like a Trinity Force Ezreal, blue build Ezreal would do probably more damage in a team fight than a Kindred would, who's not getting a lot of marks. And again, MASH being just traditional bottom lane Kindred, I believe actually still has 0 marks of the Kindred, so no counter jungling, no kills, of course. And that's the primary scaler of the champion. So Ruin Kick done, farm is there. The ceiling, though, pretty low. Like, Kindred lives in a tiny house.
Yeah, really, Team Impulse's sustained damage plan is entirely reliant on the person who is easiest to burst, which makes a very dangerous proposition, and it's something that Gate's going to have to heavily outplay. Or Echo Fox is, or Team Impulse is just going to have to team fight with very defined battle lines and have good wards on their flanks so that Gate can't be accessed by something like Lissandra. Easier said than done, but if they do that, it can still work. Okay. It's just a matter of if the sustained damage gets taken out at the beginning of the fight, they're going to have some issues.
Yeah, they definitely may, so we'll see if that can happen. Right now, the teams are saying, you ready? Yes, we're ready, and looks like we're going to be getting ourselves unpaused and back into this game. Game 5 of the day, the first match of the season, of the year for both Echo Fox and Team Impulse. Echo Fox with a small lead for themselves. Impulse have found some ways to answer back, and they have kept the Dragon control. 2-0 on that so far, so we'll have to see how these teams can further their respective advantages.
Yeah, obviously 5 Dragons could be a threat. 2 Dragons early from Team Impulse are on pretty good timers. Still seeing Dragon taken frequently, even seeing Dragon reached for aspect of the Dragon in our very first match of the day when COG took down TSM. And now we wait for Elise to try and set up deep vision. That is the next thing in the game plan.
All right, well, we'll see what Hard is up to right now. Right now, 0 deep wards actually for both sides. They've all timed out or been swept. Maybe a combination of the both. Kindred Marky is over at the top lane Scuttle Crab, but Kindred's not on that side of the map, so that won't be a mark picked up. Froggen able to remove some wards with the beginning of aggressive pink wards, and the entire team coming up to top lane. Run back pings issued. Fang has to run. This pillar needs to be good. He needs to stop big. And he's going to flash the hook.
But will this stop the push entirely? MASH is in the bottom lane, really far away from being able to threaten a turret, and Lulu could probably wave clear mid, but Fox decides not to push further in. I'm actually pretty surprised they didn't use that lapse of pressure to collapse down through the jungle and actually get some wards there, which is what they should have done, in my opinion, but instead they loop around the safe way with the majority of their team, knowing MASH was bottom lane, when they didn't have to be safe since they would have had the numbers advantage over Team Impulse. So I think a strategic miss there. Then they left wards in the river, which they don't need because they need to be pressuring their advantage harder.
All right, unfortunate then that Team Impulse couldn't find a little bit more right there. Mid lane, they didn't push through the Lulu either, so not a lot gained for the mistaken push, but Echo Fox right back to the top lane, right where they left off. Fang forced to play defensively under the turret, now without flash. Hard to kill as a Trundle with some decent items, but still something to be afraid of. Froggen, Hard, the only guys still left around. Big across the wall, goes to the hook, lands it onto Bebe. They land quite a bit of burst. They don't chase any farther, though.
Pretty funny how Echo Fox actually just did a big circle and eventually got the wards they needed within the jungle of Team Impulse, but maybe not enough. They don't pull off a successful play up against Fang. Land a hook, but he's already too tanky.
All right, 2,000 gold.
Yeah, probably means Echo Fox should just fight for the next dragon. And
they should be safe.
And it's even safer because they have the vision up around the Baron, which lowers the chance that Team Impulse would be able to sneak it. And I don't think Team Impulse would want to fight Echo Fox in the dragon.
Yeah, that would be pretty rough. I feel like there's a lot of access to the champions if you do that. Oh, MASH will take Scuttler. And finally gets a stack. That was the correct mark for MASH.
That's tough. now their attacks deal 1.25% of the enemy's current health as bonus physical damage. So those stacks are actually really quite important.
Quite a lot of damage.
If you can
and
get a
course,
lot of them.
Yeah, plus the Rune King means it's 7 1/4, which is back to basically old Rune King values. It's definitely scary. Going for the double daggers next could be Hurricane, could be really anything. We'll see what Mashes is going for in this build. Impulse forced to run away in this bottom lane. Of course, there's no outer turret to kill, so they can give up some ground without too much worry. Dragon is up in 145, though. Lucian, Keith is going to hold mid, as will Gate the Victor. So just a one-on-one over there. Fang getting some pushes in the top lane. So far unanswered, but now KFO heading up to equalize that lane. Both do have teleports available. So they can easily make their way back down. Fang farming as hard as he can. Spirit Visage is going to be up next for this Trundle to stay alive versus the essentially triple AP comp, especially with the Runic Echoes here on Ard's Elise. Feral despawns. It will not be taken until Baron comes up. Fang is forced to run backwards. KFO can clear this fairly easily, and of course the team is showing up as well.
Oh, they actually have a lot of flank positioning here. Look at the angle that Pig is taking on this play.
Oh, be careful, Fang. You are very alone. Your team is pretty far away. A nice cocoon. And the culling does so much damage. Hard gets the kill, baby. Oh, whiff the ulti. And does this team really want to fight 3 versus potentially 5? Kindred on the wrong side of that for this one. Fox find another way in now. Echo Fox 3-1.
And if we take a step back about a minute and a half, they knew that was a relatively safe play to take that really dangerous angle through the jungle to pick off Fang because they had been there and they'd placed wards. So now the wards are timed out, but they did make the play. That was really close.
It would have been pretty hard. You would have to line up the knockback of the charge with the ending frames of Froggen's E, because if you can set up during the reactivation period, you can get him. But Froggen able to dodge back. Not too much danger there. That is a flash burn from Bebe trying to make the play. Gate will get a blue buff in time for this fight. That's a big deal. There's a blue on the map that can't be claimed by Echo Fox, so a slight advantage to the mid laner of Impulse because of this.
Froggen, though, sitting on 30% CDR and full mana, so I think the blue buff is minorly impactful at the moment. Question will be, how long does KFO stay in the top lane before teleporting down? Or does Team Impulse just get this third dragon?
Top lane tier 2 taking plenty of damage right now. Lulu trying to get the next wave in, and in comes Froggen. He wants Gate. Gate's already gone. Fang is going to be next for sure. Does have flash, will jump the wall, so safe for now, but KFO did TP. Here comes Keith, there's the kill. Even the dragon was secured, it looks like. Elise managed to claim that one, and this is gonna be what looks like potentially a slaughter. Ken alone, Bebe already dead. Fox finally losing one person as the kill came through. But this looks very good now for Echo Fox. 6-2, dragon claimed as well.
Froggen actually missing a pretty short-range Q right there, which could have secured the kill onto Ken. Then missing the follow-up, which still could have landed. Even so, 3 deaths for Dragon number 3. Team Impulse definitely overcommitting for that play. And again, Froggen wrecking Gate with the CC. He's just getting right into Gate's danger zone and killing him before he can react.
It's getting pretty harsh. And we can see this play by Froggen. It's like, yeah, you know what? Keith, come help me with this one.
Yeah, like, that wasn't necessarily a cleanse problem for Gate. That was a positioning problem for Gate. He didn't want to get cut off going for the dragon, but that's a Lysandre, dude. If Lysandre can flash on him at any point, get the kill, and then go from there. Team Impulse did have time to finish off the dragon pit, and then Echo Fox tries to collapse down. Good job by Ken, actually, to use Big not only for a kill, but as a vessel to escape. I actually feel like Big should have been running in the other direction towards his team so he couldn't get a headbutt to safety. Because he does, he dies, and his prey gets away.
Very unfortunate, but still an overall good fight for Echo Fox all the same. Minor miscues or not. 6,000 nearly the gold lead here. And with the one dragon picked up, they've got the big bonus stats that they need from that first dragon pickup. They denied the move speed that Impulse would have gotten, and now 6% bonus attack damage and ability power is going to make the Echo Fox players feel pretty happy. Easy pickup there on that last little minion, as Big is getting what farm he can. Going for Locket for the team, so supports are pretty much full-time buying these items. Junglers now much more allowed to just continue to buy selfish items. It's been a kind of an increasing trend.
Well, I agree. We're also seeing double Aegis for the first time this week from Bebe and Ken. They both picked up Aegis of the Legion.
Huh. So I think that was
I
intentional.
absolutely agree with your point that the supports would better build it. But now they're Like, double Aegis used to be much better when you're doubling a huge aura. Now you're doubling a 10 magic resist aura. Not nearly as beneficial either way, because there's 2 Aegis. When Bebe and Ken are in range of each other's auras, they will essentially get the double effect. So 20 magic resist instead of 10. Still counts.
Yep, still counts. Items worth 20 selfishly, plus the 10 aura that affects yourself, plus another 10. So if these guys are plus 40 MR thanks to their itemization choices, that's roughly Spectre's Cowl power, and we'll see how the rest of that goes. But this game is slipping away from Team Impulse. Echo Fox have been the ones to play largely more aggressively, mostly queued off of Frog and making some very nice plays, and getting Boots of Lucidity, those do affect your Summoner Spell cooldowns, so he's getting to do those even more frequently than he would otherwise. Just pushing in as best he can, and Frog is in a pretty good spot with this team. He's also a very big beneficiary.
Yeah, although they're really out of position for Feng's push here. There's no teleport on KFO to match. And unless they get immediate pressure on an inhibitor-based turret, that's an unfortunate trade. They send it back.
Good flash by Gate.
Goodbye, Gate. See you later. Next time you will die.
Feng properly surmises that KFO would recall to defend this turret. He would have had some time with this tier 2, but the risk-averse play is just simply take the Krugs down, gets a quarter of a level, a couple hundred gold. Trying to push forward by playing split push, but KFO now on a 10-stack rod of mages, winning in farm. And Froggen learning from Fnatic.
They have one scrying orb.
Hello, Gate. And this is going to be bad. So, Kindred ulti is on, doesn't seem to really matter. Lamb's Respite does basically nothing. Respite for basically nothing at all. 2 kills already. Feng going to be next up on the platter. Easy pickup there. Echo Fox a 3 for 0. Could not be stopped. Froggen able to easily make these fights happen.
As easy as that looked, that was just textbook play by Echo Fox. You check that you have division denied. You luckily also have total blackness for the opponent on Baron, so they're kind of forced to look toward the Baron. You catch them before they get to the point they're trying to check. Echo Fox had no risk for that play. They clean up. They get 3 kills as well as an inhibitor.
Beautiful stuff. Echo Fox playing textbook League of Legends, playing some pretty good stuff. Very far ahead now.
I also just realized, sorry for the correction, that Tip didn't even get the 3rd dragon.
Yeah.
When they had everyone die, so that play was even less worth. Really just a total disaster. How did they not get that? They had like 3 people hitting it for 10 seconds.
Just walked up, like, repel smited, basically. I think actually repel was afterwards, but yeah, walked up and Q smited and just out-smited Bebe.
That hurts.
Yep.
That hurts even more. Let's replay that last fight. Mash was blind, but they knew Gate already had no flash. Claw comes over the wall, runs away as fast as he can. Little Victor legs only go so fast. And yes, the Kindred ult was down, but it was down early. There was no backup from Team Impulse, so they didn't have time to return damage and take advantage of the extended life of the Kindred ultimate.
Feng TP'd in and just got nothing done with it. When there's 2 already dead, you don't finish that TP. You just realize that it's already too late. That fight has been lost. Save the cooldown. Try to use it later. Unfortunately, not enough to get done here. Now a gigantic lead, of course, for Echo Fox. 8,000 gold up now. Next Dragon's up. Doesn't need much for them. It's turret damage, but they've already got decent ways to push. And Impulse just licking the wounds as best they can.
Yeah, so far, there is the one misstep for KFO positioning early on in the game, but Froggen has played a solid lane dominant style. Keith has kept his farm up, followed up well on kills. Now has an infinity edge towards his completed 80 carry build. Gives Freak seal of approval for full 80 carry item builds. Nothing wrong with that yet. Although I do like I like the Callista builds with Sterix Gauge and Moz because they're going to be so dangerous anyway.
Oh man! Oh nice! Stopped out, no chance to get away from that one, and a stack comes through for Mash. Big's in a bad spot, so hey, Team Impulse finding their way back in at least a little bit. 2 kills picked up. Bebe able to stop hard from getting away, and then the easy cleanup on Big afterwards.
I mean, just based on the positioning of Echo Fox there, another bit of little overextension without backup. They had both their solo lanes in solo lanes with 3 people pushed up without wards, and they didn't have enough vision of the rest of Team Impulse, so they get picked off.
Now Echo Fox trying to do the 2-man dragon, and actually the Team Impulse recalls might allow this to happen. A quick rush for it, and in fact, no punish. So Echo Fox lose 2, still get dragon off Impulse recalling without coming down in time.
Nice move. After the not so nice move.
Sure.
Good recovery play for Echo Fox. and they still have the down middle inhibitor. They just need to achieve vision dominance with their 2 Oracle's lenses in the jungle. Even though Oracle's lens is almost always better than the sweeping lens as far as upgrades go, I think there are situations where the sweeping lens can be better. It's when you're like kind of behind and still want to be able to sweep a brush from a little bit of distance. Here, because you have to just like run around, it's going to be good because they can probably clear the whole jungle with a couple sweeps, and it's good that they've upgraded them in this situation.
Yeah, I think almost everyone just prefers this, like that version of sweeping lens in general. It's the fairly more common one at the very least. And yeah, it's going to be super effective here. Froggen looking just to get away from that ice pillar. Pretty easy to do. Send the claw out and you just go right over it. Hard with the Raptor buff actually able to clear 2 wards away. It just lasted long enough. That's kind of nice for him. 9-4, 7,000 up. The couple of kills that went away, not hurting too badly now at this point. Froggen finds another warden kill.
Solid. 8,000 gold, 30 minutes in. No Frost Queen's claims, which is a little surprising considering they have 2 people that I think are pretty capable users of it.
Yeah.
Lysandra and Lulu. Really a pretty distinct lack of CDR in KFO's build. We normally see more, but he's got some scaling runes kicking in pretty soon.
Yeah, he'll cap at 25%, which isn't terrible, just lower than you expect for a Lulu.
You're just very used to seeing a Lulu with the Merlin Automaton somewhere in the build, or at the very least a Frost Queen's Flame.
Yeah. Like the old top lane build used to be Rod of Age Lucidity when Lucidity was 15 CDR. Now it's down to 10, and you're missing kind of a lot because your main goal is the utility, and you just have quite as much of that. All right, Fang looking for the 1v1 against KFO. Pops Whimsy, runs way faster than Trundle. For those who don't know, actually, pretty much every AP Lulu maxes Whimsy second. Even though you can get more damage and more shielding off of maxing VE, the health picks, everyone goes for the boost speed cap. Because you really want to have that for the mid game, getting someone incredibly, incredibly fast. If anyone's ever an aspiring AP Lulu player, you max the Whimsy second.
Well, not to mention also the 2.25 seconds of polymorph you get.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of the most potent CCs in the game. It's basically a point-and-click silence. And
it's definitely
mini
good.
Yeah. Stop them from auto-type.
And Echo Fox, though, continuing to control vision well enough. They're feeling safe starting Baron right now. Only 3 doing it, though. Lulu was in the bottom lane. The Team Impulse squad is coming up, though. It's still dark. Can they come in time? 2,000 health left. And it's going to be picked up. Nice smite, nice capitalization. Echo Fox grabbed the Baron. And, okay. Force of Flash and the ulti away from Ken.
And that was kind of a setup from a previous play because the last time Tip didn't have vision of the Baron buff, they got killed running towards their Raptors. So there was a lot of trepidation for Team Impulse to actually get to the Baron, all the while Echo Fox was killing.
Quick wave clear, not too much you're still able to do. Of course, this is still a pretty hard team to push against. You can't easily dive Alistar, Poppy, Trundle. They have really good ways of getting rid of you. And Victor, I would say is maybe actually the best wave clearing mid in terms of just the upgraded Death Laser being pretty insane.
And that's not even talking about Kindred, who makes it so you can't die.
You actually just can't dive her, like literally. That's not exactly true, but close enough. They, however, without a turret, can go up mid lane, and you don't fight without a turret against Baron buff. So that's an indication. All right, Echo Fox, in their first game as a team in the North American LCS, are and have always been this entire game really winning by slow and steady measures, pushing this Team Impulse squad farther and farther back into their base, looking for top lane inhibitor turret now.
They do have to be slightly careful. They have about 8,000 unspent gold in their inventory right now, which would actually invalidate their overall gold lead. Whereas Tip, since they are pushed into their base, only has about 1,000 unspent gold. So the overall gold in inventory is pretty close right now, if you don't count the Baron buff.
And that might mean a lot, though, because the minions are still hitting this turret and getting it lower and lower, down below half at this point. And Impulse only have so many ways of killing off these minions. It takes multiple death rays to knock that thing down. Another wave is coming very soon. Someone actually should walk back and buff the wave. It actually gains move speed based on how much moves that your champion has. They could get the wave in sooner. if Big spent a couple of seconds walking back and shepherding it forward. But here comes the team pushing in. This turret could take a lot of damage. It could be the wave. So here comes the engage towards Froggen. A whole lot of CC. A couple of knockbacks. Froggen will just barely stay safe. Not leaving the engage just yet. A knockback, though. They're going to get rid of one of these champions. And already Froggen is dead. Team Impulse looking for this to be the time. They push forward. Ghost popped on gate. He is chasing KFO as far out as he can with the Rylays, but just the 1 for 0.
So while I think it was a very nice stun by Bebe onto Froggen, I'm very disappointed in Froggen's play right there. Normally, you would just self-ult after getting caught for a little bit of damage and buy your team enough time to finish the inhibitor turret. Look how low this turret is right now. And if instead of immediately taking the Lantern, Froggen self-ults right here, it would buy time for Keith to kill that turret. But because he immediately went out, and as we see, Thresh gets popped away from the fight, Froggen died without Lissandra ulting or using Zhonya's Hourglass.
Yep.
The point of playing Lissandra often to jump in, do a bomb, and then stall. He did none of those things.
Now the first big misplay we've seen from Froggen so far then in this game. A lot of good things. That was definitely one misstep. So he's not perfect.
Yeah.
Definitely here, but look at this. A push into the top lane. That TP's not even going to do anything. Fang losing the cooldown yet again with a unfortunate teleport. Maybe ill-advised, if you will, but that one does not happen. 2 inhibitors down now. A lot of room for Echo Fox to move with. Impulse did take the 3rd dragon during that death timer of Froggen.
Small amount of showing how difficult it is to teleport in pro play without great synergy or communication. Fang, very off the mark with his teleports this game. Always wanting to help out, but unless the rest of your team is keeping you kind of well updated on the situation, it's really hard to manage your own positioning as well as knowing when to teleport in.
Yep, absolutely. To correct myself, the top lane inhibitor didn't go down, just the turret itself. Look at the Baron power play, not very big, much like one of the previous ones actually in the last game. They got an inhibitor down. That's not tracked in gold because they're worth basically nothing, but going -1 kill actually is going to have to be your gold in that case. But Echo Fox still sizably ahead. There's still minions flooding into the mid lane. And look at that! Whoa! Mash caught out! Froggen finding it.
Full bursted within the stun duration of the Frozen Tomb. No ultimate could be placed by Mash. Doesn't even get a heal off.
Because he had... Oh, yeah, he had QSS, didn't pop the ulti in time to do it.
Oh,
so slight misplay, but there's another kill. A shutdown for Keith, stunned inside the turret, but it won't be enough to kill him off. And now you can see Froggen maybe a bit far forward. He's gonna get picked up for that one. These are still some pretty big tanks. Fang gonna have to flash away. A lot of damage coming out from Keith on this Lucian, looking to maybe close the game out. A big stun from Ken. Pops the ulti to stay alive, but these turrets are taking a lot of damage. The 2 big carries are already dead. What else can they do?
Yeah, that's the thing. Echo Fox doesn't actually have to kill the tanks. They just have to kill the base. No one can kill them back unless they get too aggressive. Here we go. This looks like Echo Fox gonna take the win.
And this is now Echo Fox just getting all of them to die. There's the ace, a double kill, 7-0 and 5 for Keith. Deathless in his first game on his new team, and Echo Fox end the day 1-0.
So after 1 day of LCS, Echo Fox moves themselves into the top 5 of the standings. With the nature of the game. 5-5-0 teams, 5-0-5 teams. Froggen, nice lane dominance. Very few people take Ignite on Lissandra, but Froggen goes in and makes it work. I'd say kind of as expected for Echo Fox here. Froggen does pretty well in lane. Keith, 7-0-5. KFO looked like he had a few communication missteps, and we were not expecting too much from Team Impulse as well, with the substitutes still in there and the late roster acquisition, so an expected match.
Yeah, an expected match, absolutely. Echo Fox will move on to play Cloud9, who are a 0-1 team. We're pretty sizably taken down by Immortal, so that will be, I think, the first major test then for Echo Fox. Froggen looked good. He made some good plays. The team looked coordinated. They were there to make the plays off of Lissandra. That was definitely a plus. You could see the coordination had been worked on already for Echo Fox. There's some stuff that's already in the works, and now they play, one of the scary NA teams. We'll see how that goes. Team Impulse, as you mentioned, with this being an expected victory, it's a squad full of subs. It's a squad that came together very late. Subs notwithstanding. It's even later this time around.
Yep.
And, is this another TDK where they're waiting to get the lineup together? When it does, it looks okay, but it might be too late. Like, it's...
I hope not.
I hope not, too.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate story for them. Also, Gate still very vocal after the game. You could tell the way that game ended was very non-ideal. They were stalling out pretty well for a lot of that. They were able to pick up some dragons, and some overall shot calling things ended up costing them. From an individual perspective, you know, aside from Gate not having cleanse to deal with the Sandra, the team was holding pretty well, aside from some overall, you know, communication fails there later on in the game. So Gate can't keep that guy down.
No, I'm glad. He's dauntless. He just keeps coming back for more. He keeps trying to find ways to make it work. And, you know, I hope for his sake he finds a couple of good games for himself. I hope he gets his squad together as well. Mash seemed okay as well. I mean, he had, you know, a solid game as best you can do in this kind of situation. It's not like he could have done much about it. I guess he missed an ult like once, but it was the rest of his team was like getting Froggened on and, you know, getting Glacial Tomb, and he's like off farming on the side. Like, guys, can okay, well, you know, 4 men showed up mid. I'm just going to keep hitting these minions down here.
Yeah. Keith got pretty farm. Kindred doesn't scale well into the late game, especially AD carry Kindred, who can pick up the stacks.
Yeah.
Tough start.
Oh, well, tough start. Unfortunate for Team Impulse. Echo Fox, though, got to be happy with this one. But for now, let's check in with Riv, who is Rift side with North America's newest Great Dane in the mid lane.
Hey guys, what's going on? Great cast on the day. I am joined by Froggen of Echo Fox after their first win. And I got to ask you, how's it feel to be on stage with the new team after the victory?
It feels good. I mean, I don't know. It's like playing in the LCS, but with 4 new people. So there was a bit of jitters, but I think we managed to get through it.
Well, were those jitters mostly yours? This isn't the first time. You have a new team now on stage trying to make something happen. How's that all going for you?
I think it was everyone, honestly. It's like, I mean, we all knew we don't know how it is to play on stage with each other yet. So I think it's everyone.
All right, I got to ask you, the team's pretty new, as you just said. What's the dynamic? Who's got a lot of voice on the team? Does it change towards late game? How's it all work?
We generally try to have our support big shot call. I can help with some of my experience and all that kind of stuff, but we want him to mainly do it. I think he did a pretty good job this game.
Perfect. Yeah, it looked like it turned out great. Now, throughout the split, there's obviously going to be ups and downs for teams, but who are you looking at right now? There's some pretty great, pretty long games today, short games. What's your thoughts?
I think the games are generally going to be shorter. I'm not sure how long our was, probably around the 30-minute mark, but I think the average game time will probably be around like 25 minutes.
25 minutes. Who are you looking to get some game times like that on? What kind of teams are you looking at to beat?
I mean, just going off of scrims. I mean, the first week, you would generally play a bit more safe. Everyone is more nervous and all that kind of stuff. So that could be why there's a bit higher game times. But generally from scrims, it has been really short games. Like either win or lose, it doesn't really matter. It's still around the same game time.
It's a lot of what we saw coming up here. And before I let you go, I got to say, I absolutely love this outfit. But you took it one last step. I got to show these shoes off. Apparently, Echo Fox rocking an entire outfit coming into the LCS. So you guys definitely better put down some numbers here. I got to ask you, Froggen, coming into the LCS here in North America, how do you think Echo Fox is going to do? Final question.
I think right now we would probably be around the middle of the pack.
All right, fair enough. Easy enough said and done. Frog, congratulations on the win, and best of luck tomorrow, man. We're going to throw it down to the analyst desk to break down the rest of the day.
You ask the question, Riv, you get the answer. Middle of the pack, that's where they think they'll
All
be.
business.
You know, I'm ready for those 25-minute games, though. I don't know about you. I need to get in some of those scrims because we probably averaged over 40 today with a couple of our games.
Well, my average scrim time is 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just GG after the first
GG
play.
easy. Yeah, when you give it up, right? Exactly. No, okay, let's break down this game a little bit. You know, we have to take it, I think, with a grain of salt, given the sub situation for TIP. You've got two of the main players aren't even in the roster, and you're moving Gate out of his primary role from support to mid lane. Not to say he hasn't played mid before. He does have experience there. But as we break this down, I think the key thing to note here is in this champion select, I felt almost like Team Impulse was trying too much to flex pick everything.
Yeah, this is when you're trying to flex and you go to the gym and you just burn yourself out. You're lifting too much at once. There are 3 flex picks here, and then it was just like, well, how do I hold all these flex picks? I don't know what to do.
Right.
And it just ended up with Kindred going to AD carry, not very effective late game. Kindred's seen a couple nerfs to her, or their heal, which was the big part of the lane for the AD carry portion. And so he ended up with something like 7,000 damage at the end of the game. Not a whole lot at all.
Right.
And pretty easy to catch. So I did also think that the aside from the flex picks, it was also, like Jat touched on it a bunch, the fact that there was no cleanse on Gate Gate was just getting picked on all game because of that.
Well, talk about getting picked on. The person who was doing that was Froggen. And when we do look at Echo Fox, we've got to look at him as that leader. We heard in the soundbite earlier today, he felt he could learn a lot from Rick Fox in being that veteran player and being the captain. And it really showed here in this game that he was the initiator. He took it upon himself to kind of get his team through this first game of the LCS season.
And Froggen, he's constantly initiating in these games or juking people out, and you can see right here, Big is a big part of these plays as well, and Froggen just said that he's usually the shot caller, but Froggen's the initiator. So he's getting the go-ahead, and it's just get Gate every single time.
Yeah.
These replays, what is it? He's getting picked on.
He definitely is, but it does illustrate the point that, to a degree, the team is following him. And I think that when he talks about having those jitters and with such a new team, knowing that you're following a guy who's been on this stage for so long probably helps to alleviate some of those jitters.
It's a very strange thing too, because if we're going by like the evidence that we have and what Froggen said about Big calling the shots, they're actually each doing half of a job, and if they're trusting in each other, it's much easier on you. If Big is going, I'm going to call the shot, go in, he doesn't have to worry about the execution of it because Froggen's going to worry about the execution of it, as opposed to Froggen worrying about the call as well. Am I going to make this call?
Right.
So I like that, because if you have those jitters, you're able to kind of be like, I trust you, you trust me. Sometimes if we mess up, it's a team effort, right? So I think it's really cool that they're doing that.
Quick look at the rest of the team. KFO in the top lane played relatively well. There was that kind of minor misplay early in the game where he traveled too far into the jungle. Jack called it a solo queue play. But for the most part, again, when they grouped up, both him and Keith performing their duties. Keith, 7-0-5 scoreline. That guy continues to impress when it comes to KDAs in the North American LCS.
He's setting these stats that like nobody can meet.
They're unreasonable bars.
And he'll leave for the season. Last season, it's like nobody can match that.
Even every other AD carry who won today, I think like Wild Turtle, 11-1-4, all these other AD carries that had ridiculous scorelines, they still had one death. Keith has to come in and show up with 0 deaths. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
But Keith is such a great AD carry when he has a good team around him, because what he's able to do is be that cleanup AD carry because he's got good team fight positioning.
Right.
If you're not focusing Keith is pretty much free to do whatever, but I think that he does it a lot better than most AD carries will. So when he has people like Froggen who are going to dive and take the threat away from him, that's where he really excels.
Yep.
And also he had a Lulu behind him in KFO. Jury's actually still out on KFO and how good he is or where he stands after this game. Not a lot of questions answered here for both Echo Fox and TIP.
Right. We need some more time to figure both of these teams out. Well, let's take a look and check how the teams are arranged after our first day back on the Rift. The teams are split right down the middle with CLG, Immortals, Energy, Renegades, and Echo Fox, each holding 1 win. And in the bottom half of the standings is Cloud9, Team Dignitas, TSM, Impulse, and Team Liquid. Now, that's going to do it for us today, but we'll be right back here tomorrow with our special guest analyst Dyrus and 5 more games. Up first, it's Renegades versus Energy. After that, Team Dignitas will challenge CLG, followed by Team Liquid going up against TSM. That will hit your browsers tomorrow at noon Pacific, 9 p.m. Central European time. And you've been warned, and no, absences will not be excused. So be sure to stick around for the start of the University League of Legends Campus Series following the conclusion of our broadcast today. That's coming up in just 10 minutes with Robert Morris University taking on Michigan State. Now, for myself and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for another explosive day of LCS action. Day 1 in the books.
Day 1, week 1, and game 1 of the 2016 Spring Split. Going to be a mistake here by Aframu. There's the Journey. Oh, he gets himself out.
Lissandro stun. Kill Lissandro. Nice. Flash, I can flash. I'm going into. Tap. Crystal jump. Kill Trips. I stun him. Watch it.
And Chronologic Gaming are going to take the game over TSM. Ultimate Adrian with a huge play. Powelser goes down to Jensen, dives in melee range. He goes down himself. Turtle got 3 in the lane slinger, but he can't get the range. And Immortals, the first win of the 2016 Spring Split over Cloud9. We're still in place. Oh my God! See ya, Key-Ray.
We can fight now. We can.
We can.
Let's go. Enemy on press.
Eyeball.
Energy take down Dignitas.
Okay, hey guys.
Is everyone
I got
good?
some more sagely advice. It's a team game.
Peter, can you please not try and tell me before the game?
It's no time for memes.
Huni, are you nervous?
Big Ben's all set. Nothing to be nervous about.
Are you nervous?
Yeah, actually, I'm nervous.
Really?
Oh,
Are you scared?
oh, scared. Nope. JK.
We can keep on slow chasing, slow chasing. Double. Nice,
Nice! Go, Glissa! Nice! They found Piglet! A Shockman catches him, and he's gone! Renegades takes down Piglet! Renegade, 1-0! Even the Dragon was secured, it looks like Elise managed to claim that one, and this is going to be what looks like potentially a slaughter. Gonna flash away. A lot of damage coming out from Keith, but Echo Fox at the day 1-0.